Today, we hear that over 2,000 people have crossed the Channel illegally via dangerous dinghy just this week alone to get to the UK. So here's why people are prepared to risk their lives to cross the Channel from the safety of France, and part of the reason why you and I are not getting value for money from that ever-increasing tax pot that we're all paying into. An investigation by the Sunday Express revealed that we taxpayers have forked out £6.6 billion on asylum seeker and refugee support schemes, so that those who come here via illegal means, and many via dinghy, can visit the zoo, receive sandwich deliveries, tennis lessons, friendship services, and even trips to the footy to see Sir Keir Starmer's fan favourite, Arsenal. The £6.6 billion is over 5 years, and on top of the £8 million a day, which is an underestimation, that we're paying to house these people in hotels and the like. Instead of focusing on the people of this country, the majority paying taxes to keep all this going, the government seems to be having an obsession with ensuring that the people of the UK are perceived as nice people. Now, when I was younger, my mum used to do something a bit like that. Get all the chocolate biscuits out when my friends came to visit, and then as soon as we said goodbye, the nice biscuits vanished and it was back to the cream crackers. People would say, "Oh, your mum's really nice," and praise her generosity. I mean, how would we look to neighbours if they discovered that we actually only ate dry old cream crackers? How would the rest of the world perceive the UK if we did what, say, France or Greece do and give asylum seekers a tent and just the basics until we could determine whether they were legitimate or not? Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't assist people who need help. I'm saying, how on earth will we be able to work out the genuine ones if the incentives when you get here aren't such a pull factor? Why wouldn't one try to get here when there's at least £6 billion worth of goodies on offer? The money, well, it went towards 200 government and local council-funded schemes over the 5 years. One was a contract for Wethersfield Asylum Accommodation site, which would greet arrivals with over £20,000 worth of sports coaches and equipment for things like tennis, volleyball and athletics, which they could all indulge in 4 times a day, 3 times a week. I have to pay for the gym. Other facilities provided a friend for each adult that arrived at the facilities in Bristol, London and Hull. The Home Office even put an order in for a cool 1.1 million for SIM cards and mobile phones, placing an initial order of 2,000, each phone requiring at least 60 gigs of data. And once they're here, these people can roam freely, even though we don't know who they are. And in the case of Abi Wadi, a militant who arrived by small boat this week who called for the slaughter of all Jews, even when we've worked out who they are, we still can't even find them to send them back. But what are Sir Keir Starmer and his clan doing about all this? They're posturing on the international stage, chucking money into a foreign war. I don't even think they've noticed the latest 2,000 illegal entries this week. Instead, they're focusing their efforts on telling us how many new houses they're going to build, even though it'll never be enough if we carry on with these levels of migration. And they're cutting benefits for the needy and reducing the blob. Fine, do all that, but the biggest threat to this country is not fighting foreign wars, it is protecting our borders. Well, I'm joined now by Krish Kandia. He's the founder of the Sanctuary Foundation, a refugee charity. Krish, am I being ungenerous? Am I being unfair?
Hi, Nana. First of all, can I say congratulations on your engagement? That was lovely news to hear.
How do you know?
Oh, well, I just follow you on socials, so it was good to hear from that.
Thank you.
So, look, I think we can agree there is something wrong with our asylum system. As you say, we're spending £8 million a day on asylum accommodation. And my solution to this is, if someone is seeking asylum here, we should do a couple of things. First of all, we should have a fast and fair system so they're not stuck in a hotel for years and years and years. And if they're in the system, why don't we allow people to work? At the moment, an asylum seeker can't work, can't even volunteer in a charity shop. So there aren't many options to them except sitting in the hotel and just being fed. And then if you're stuck in a hotel for day after day after day with nothing to do, it's understandable why the state might want to lean in and offer them some other things, like whether that's language lessons to help them integrate, or, as you say, trips to the zoo or trips to the football. Why anyone would want to see Arsenal is another question, though. So I think if we could fix the system so it was faster in the first place, and secondly, if people had the ability to work, that would save the taxpayer some money. And I estimated it's around £150 million a year that could be coming into the economy from the tax paid by asylum seekers if they were working even at minimum wage. So I think there is a solution to this problem that you're identifying.
Do you not think that the solution that you've just outlined becomes an even bigger pull factor? So they come here illegally, you're now going to allow them to have a job. So that means that, hey, anybody who was thinking of applying via visa, don't bother with that, because if you go via dinghy, you'll be assigned some sort of work anyway. And then they're stuck in hotels. Well, if you're allowed to just roam freely, which we allow them to do, you end up with people like Abu Wadi or whatever his name is. We don't know what he's like, how he is with people, and we end up with quite a lot of misogyny, because some of these people are coming from places where that is okay, that kind of behaviour is okay. So I don't think that those things would work. I think we need to be tougher. Surely we should be tougher on them even getting here. When they get here, they should get less. If you get less and you know that you're not going to be able to roam freely, you're not going to be able to work, you're going to be stuck in a hotel, you're not going to be able to leave, then why would you want to come here if you're in a safe country already?
Well, I think there are a lot of push factors rather than just the pull factors. The asylum seekers I've met are fleeing war and terror, and many of them are women. So, look, I think we agree the system isn't working. A fast and fair process would help. Smashing the gangs would also help, because people would stop being smuggled or trafficked here. But then if people are here and we need to hear their case, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, let's do that quickly and fairly. We're getting better at returning people if they have a failed asylum claim, particularly for countries like Albania. The numbers of Albanians that are going back where there isn't a war has increased. So I think we can get there, but I think one quick solution that would save a lot of money, be better for the mental health of those people who are caught in the middle of this system, is letting people work.
You say that a lot of the people that you're speaking to are legitimate, and I bet the people that you speak to are legitimate. But that's probably not the large, vast majority of them. There's a lot of people here, like this Albanian criminal who's allowed to stay in the UK, partly because of his son's distaste for foreign chicken nuggets. Now, they used the ECHR. Earlier we were asking whether, perhaps the ECHR could be disallowed in that respect for people to be using it if their case has failed. Why should they be allowed to just... And also, why should we have to keep paying for it? If you want to appeal your decision, which means that you've been refused asylum here, then you pay for that appeal yourself. Why is the British taxpayer paying for repeated appeals for people who shouldn't be here?
Well, I think there is a fix to that as well, Nana. A lot of people that do apply for asylum aren't given the support to actually apply properly. So most people on appeal do win their case. That tells me that we didn't give people the help they needed in the first place.
So give them more help at the taxpayer's expense? Even more money?
Save money. It will save money because there'll be less time in hotels. An appeal doubles the cost, doesn't it? If you're not given the help in the first place to be able to present your case, and then you've got to wait another couple of years for the appeal, that's lots of money wasted. So I think there are humanitarian ways we could get to the same result.
You wouldn't waste money if the appeal failed, they had to pay for it themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, in this country, we don't get that kind of privilege. We don't get the privilege where our legal things will be covered if we disagree with the thing. You have to have a certain income criteria, and even that doesn't really cover many people at all. We don't even have those privileges. So why on earth should somebody who comes here illegally then be given access to a repeated appeal? It's ridiculous. If you want to appeal a decision to leave, then you must pay for it yourself. Why not? That will send a load of people back. If they can't do it within a certain period of time, goodbye. That's for failed asylum seekers.
I'm all up for people who genuinely don't have a claim being turned back, but I want to give people who have a genuine claim every opportunity to be able to prove that. That would seem to be fair to me. And the idea of leaving the EHCR at a time when we want closer relationships with Europe, when who knows what's going on in Ukraine and the wider area, seems like a really bad idea. As you know, it
Not
was
to leave it, but Kemi
Winston
Badenoch.
Churchill himself set up the ECHR because he thought it was good for us to have human rights that aren't just based on whatever the individual government agrees, but actually
Kemi Badenoch is not talking about leaving it. She's talking about disapplying elements of it for people who come here illegally if they're appealing a certain claim or case. Now, I think that's fair. And as for Winston Churchill creating it, that's great. It means that if we did choose to leave it, then we are well equipped to create another form, a Bill of Rights, which works in our interest rather than the one that works in the Europeans' interests, which is what I see when I look at that. Listen, Krish Kandiah, I could talk to you for ages, but unfortunately I haven't got that much time. Thank you very much. Really good to talk to you. Thank you so much. That was Krish Kandiah. He's the founder of the Sanctuary Foundation, which is a refugee charity. Now, GB News has contacted the Home Office for comment on the alleged Palestinian militant who crossed the Channel. And in a statement, as they say, we are committed to ending small boat crossings which undermine our border security and restoring order to the asylum system to ensure that the rules are respected and enforced. While it is a long-standing rule that we never comment on individual cases or operational matters, the British public can be reassured that we take all steps necessary at all times to protect the nation's security.